Hey everyone, welcome to another interview with my teammate Pyro, who has recently won his second consecutive PQ in Sydney. Now, we did an interview a couple weeks ago. I'll have that linked in the description from when you won your first PQ. That was at Churnside, Melbourne. Congrats on winning your second PQ.
Thanks, man.
Just for a quick refresher, would you like to quickly introduce yourself again?
Yeah, sure. SC Pyro, from Scoop City. Yeah, I'm part of the Scoop City team. Used to play lots of Destiny, X-Wing. Now I'm into SWU, and I've just taken my second PQ win. This time in Sydney. The seven of us from Melbourne travelled over. All stayed in a B&B together. It was pretty fun, pretty good weekend, and we took the PQ as the cherry on top. So yeah, good times.
Yeah, it was lots of fun. So, over to the questions. I'll bring up your deck list here. We went over your deck list in the first PQ, but I'm seeing some changes. What kind of changes have you made to your deck list for this PQ, and why do you make them? Different meta, different people you're expecting?
No, look, I took out some cards that I didn't think I needed, and I put in some more three drops. So I took out Bosk and Dengar. I liked having Bosk in the list. It's just such a good card, but I didn't really need it for most of my matchups. And the matchups was really good into things like Han too. And I felt that I was really winning that matchup convincingly. So I didn't need him. So I took him out. I took out Dengar. He was just an extra one drop. I think I had enough of them, so I took him out. And I actually took Cad Bane out of my sideboard. Like I love the card Cad Bane, but it wasn't working with what I was doing with the deck. So I took Cad Bane out. I moved one of my no good to me deads into the sideboard, and then I put the three drops I put in are the two hunting droid assassin droids, and I put one cunning. The assassin droids have been really good. I'm really happy with them. They can swing for 5 in a CAD deck because you ping with them, so something's damaged. So now they got raid 2 and they're swinging for 5. So they can cleanly take out things like Tafo, which was really helpful and really relevant. And then also apparently just take out Kira as well for my Han 1 matchup. Pretty good overall, but just swinging for 5 is a great threat to have on the board. It's actually better. It's more damage than the haulers do for less trouble. I guess you could say maybe the downside is the haulers they go in space, which is a different arena. But I felt that I sort of wanted to dominate the ground arena as much as possible with the deck, so that it worked for me.
Yeah,
Um,
dominating ground is really interesting because I personally used to play a lot of ground aggro decks. I just couldn't figure out how to make them work in the current meta, especially with like Yoda and Han 2 around, having absolute control of the ground at times. Did you test trying to go a bit more space heavy, or you just make ground work?
um, Look, I think it's just a personal preference, but also like if I'm trying to race decks like Piet, where there's a lot of that, I don't really want too much space units because he can just choose to clean those up, with his MC80 or whatever it's called, so and get some value out of it. So I think just having lots of ground units just worked for the deck. It helped me flood the board and deal with the sentinels, take them out if I had to. And also I run 3 guns. It made more sense, right? Because I can play those guns as quick extra two damage, get damage in. Just had more synergy with what the deck was doing, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. One other thing I'm noticing about this list, I think this is probably the same for your list last time. You're running one. Oh, sorry, that's an Aura Sing. I thought you were running one Bazine and two Grindon. Never mind, that's my bad.
No, I've got a Bazine on the sideboard. The Bazine Garinden combo sometimes goes off. But yeah, no, I've got 2 Garindans. The Garindans have been really solid. If you get a call right with the Garinden, you're off to the races. Especially if it's against like Han 1 yellow. They really struggle once you start to take their cards. But also very important for like flip turns against control decks like late game decks like Yoda or control decks like, well, I say Carlo's a control deck. I guess I've been told multiple times that it's a mid-range deck, but a deck that goes later than mine, Carlo or Yoda, that plays hard removal. It's good to have those Garindans on the flip to protect your leader. Yeah.
Yeah, so going into this PQ, what kind of matchups were you testing? Was it more of the same going into the first PQ, or did he have a hunch that the meta was going to change between the first and the second PQ?
The only thing I was worried about and that I tested against was Han 1 yellow. I You'll notice later when we go over it, I did lose to a Piet in the Swiss. There's actually not much you can do when a Piet draws gas. They're just going to beat you. I know that matchup. Practicing it more is not going to help me, but with the Han 1 yellow, I was surprised by it at the last PQ, and I wasn't that prepared as I could have been against it. And I thought about it a bit, and I thought if I got a bit of practice into it, I could actually work out what was the best thing to do in the matchup. And I had a bit of practice with Linus and Jack. They both played hard one yellow against me the day before the PQ. And what we really sort of learned is that if Han one doesn't see faith in your friends or cunning, either or, bit of both, bit of if it doesn't see those cards against CAD, it can be quite a bit of trouble. The CAD can develop the board quite big, go wide, and just overrun it and out damage it.
Yeah, you
So it
think
was
Faith
good
in
to
Your
get those
Friends
reps.
is like a real uh, CAD killer that just came out?
I think if you don't know how to play around it, it can be really, really bad for CAD. It's really good for Han because obviously gives him an extra card and it puts some threats on the board. But as the CAD player, I think you just clear whatever he lets stay out, whatever the Han player lets stay on the board, you clear with your units. You take some time. You have to slow down a bit, unfortunately. You're not getting damage at base, but you can't just let him trade with you. You want to be the one getting the free trade and killing those things once they're down. But otherwise, yeah, that the Faith Blueprint isn't too bad once you know how to play around it. The cunning after cunning, if they can just play cunning every turn, that's pretty hard to come back. It's just such a good card, so much value.
Yeah, definitely. Cunning and Mono Yellow Dex is an absolute beast. So I'm gonna pull up your games for today. So we had what 6 rounds into a top cut. Do you want to talk through some of these games quickly?
Sure, I'll just go over the Swiss rounds quickly. So round one, I faced a player called Bus Rider who was on Captain Phasma. The deck was really quick. Our games were really close. Like he was pretty close to lethal both games, I think. Well, at least the first game. I'm trying to remember. Maybe it was the second game, but one of the games was closer than the other. But I did take that out 2-0. But very impressive deck actually. I am wondering how it's going to be next set. I know it's going to maybe lose a few things, but hopefully gain a few more things as well. So
Hmm,
got to keep an eye on Captain Phasma. Could be a thing. Round two, I played against Ethofit, Hantu ECL. Of the Hantu matchups, Hantu ECL is the one that I think is better for the Hantu ECL, for the Hantu player, I mean. Like it's the other ones are very unfavorable for the Hantu player, but Hantu ECL actually has quite a bit more game. I think it's closer to I don't know, call it a 45-55 matchup than any of the others are, right? But I still think maybe probably favored towards CAD. Yeah, we'll take that out 2-0. Round three, I played against Toby with Anakin Skywalker Dodavolt. He he took me out game one. I wasn't super prepared for this matchup because while I knew people were playing Anakin Skywalker DV, I hadn't run into any at the PQs, and nor did I practice against any. So I had not practiced for this matchup at all. Luckily, I used to be an Anakin player myself. I played it a bit at the start of set three, and I'm very familiar with Anakin. So I just sideboarded, and then I went on to win games two and three
nice.
um, after some careful sideboarding. Round four, I played against Connell. He was on Admiral Piet. This guy had the most gas hands I've seen a Piet player. He got his devastators, I think, both games, and then just murdered me with bombardments. With his ramp and everything. He got the ramp, he got the devastators, he got the bombardments. I tried to, get there. I think one of the games my cat had both his ferocities on and dealt 10 damage to base, but then I just died the turn after that, right?
Yeah, Piet's like
Um,
that. If they get the right cards, there's just nothing you can do.
yeah, so you want to try to disrupt the ramp, but you don't always get what you want because you can disrupt the ramp and they can just draw it anyway. So which is what happened game two. Is I got rid of the ramp and then he drew another one.
Unlucky.
My next game, round five, got paired into SC Godzilla, someone someone in Scoop City who's also trying to get some points, trying to get into top eight. So we decided to draw. This was a very dangerous decision in the end, as well. We'll get to a bit later. Round six, played Becky Lemmy SWU on Hantu DV. So yeah, probably easier than Hantu ECL. Bit more damage to get into the base, but because of needing to draw the timely interventions, it does sort of create this situation where I can play around things a bit. I can even remove the timelies if I need to from hand, with Gurinden, though he can't just hard them in his resources. But a bit easier than Hantu ECL, so I took that 2-0.
Nice.
Now, after this first round of Swiss, the results came back for the tournament, and I had not made top cut. I was coming ninth. I think Ollie was eighth. I was ninth, and then Jack was 10th.
Yep.
And so Jack and I were basically like, "Oh, we didn't make it. We 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 scrubbed out at 4-1-1. We're just watching now." So we were chilling, and then they reported that the results were reported wrong. So a
Yeah.
player had reported the wrong result. So there was a re-report and a reposting of the standings, and one of the players who was in the top eight had dropped off, and lo and behold, I was in eighth position. So now I'm like stressed out because I'm like, oh man, I was just gonna chill. It was over. My run was over. Now I have to play, and oh yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember specifically the head judge came over. I was like, "Hey, we need your deck to do a deck check," and he gave them your deck. And you're like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't even unsideboard because I wasn't preparing to play any more games."
yeah, yeah, exactly. I didn't. I had no idea. They didn't penalize me for that though, so that was all good.
Yeah.
I normally when I do my deck check, I've actually already taken all my cards, put them in order for the judges, and then I give them the box with the cards all in order, and they love me for that. But I didn't even know I was gonna, get deck checked. So this was just out of nowhere.
Mm.
All happened very quickly. Yeah. So onto the top eight. My first match in the top eight is a good matchup for me, but a very good player. So I got a BDST zero limit. You'll see him around the top tables quite a bit. Pretty good player. He actually, yeah, he did a really good job. This was a very hard game for both of us. I think Tivi was watching our game he was watching our game a lot, and you can ask him if you want about what he thought of it because he thought it was I think he thought it was quite a good match. It did end up resulting in me winning 2-1, and I only just barely won that game because I pinged off the last two damage off his base with two reckless gunslingers, and he sort of took control of the board and cleared my board. So I was sort of struggling to stay on there. He had taken control and taken board control from me, and he was on 23 life, and I top decked one, pinged him, and then I played another one for my resources and pinged him dead. So that was a very close match.
That
Uh,
that match I remember nearly went to time as well. Like we were sitting around thinking there are Kylo 5 data vaults and Yoda data vaults, and what's the game that goes to time? Cad Tarkentown and Hunter ECL, of course.
Yeah, look, no, I think we were both just playing our hearts out. I think that the games had there was a lot going on in both games, in all three matches. There was no slow playing or anything. There was just a lot of thought going into our decisions. The game states were really interesting. It's probably a pity it wasn't one of the games that was on stream.
Yeah.
Um, 'Cause I think probably it was a better game to watch than the next match we have uh we have in the top four. So going after winning that match 2-1, I went up to play Han Yellow, piloted by BDST Rourke, the traitor Rourke, who's decided not to play Care Tarkentown today. I don't know why, but he had moved to Han Yellow. The practice I had the night before with Linus and Jack really helped with this. I was kind of confident into it. Jack did tip me off that he said I should just go wide and there's not much he can do. And pretty much is what I did. I just went wide and I maintained board control. I just use proper sequencing to get ahead and stay ahead. Yeah, took I think I took the first game comfortably. The second game I stalled a bit, and I think he took that out. And then the third game, which I could be remembering wrong. It could have been the first. That could be reversed, but either way, in the third game, I think I won quite confidently. Just had a massive board and controlled his board and took it over.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was two baddest badge members in the top eight. So pretty good games there, and you can watch that. The two games that I'm talking about now, the one with Rourke and the one I'm about to have in the finals, you can watch those on the baddest batches YouTube video
Yep,
if you
I'll
guys
put
want
that
to
in
check this
description as
out.
well.
Yeah. The finals, it's funny because I think we realized when it was just me and Paul in the finals that the mat was not staying in Sydney. It was either going to Perth or or it was coming home to Melbourne because all the Sydney siders were kicked out. And it was also like a bit, oh, this is two PQ winners who've already won PQs this season. So it is pretty good match. I got a bit lucky in the way these games went. I know the matchup. I've played it before. Linus actually gave me quite a bit of good practice into Yoda. I've beaten Yoda at the previous PQ, and so I knew the matchup. I knew what I needed to do, and I got kind of lucky in the last game because I played my trusty old faithful Devastator, and Yoda just didn't have any removal. So Devastator took the game again because previously in Melbourne I won my third game against Yoda, also with the Devastator finishing the game, and Devastator takes up the game for this last match as well.
Yeah, this match was a bit of a tough one to watch because I was watching it live as well. And game one took what, like 5 minutes or something. It was just Yoda went village protectors, was it village protectors into Typho into village protectors, and then later on they played home one to another village protectors. You're just being stopped at every turn. And we're like, oh my gosh, not this.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got
No.
it in the end. You played very well. All right, now similar to last time, I'm going to ask you this question. What's one mistake you made this tournament that you learned from and won't be doing again?
Yeah, so it didn't actually affect the result, but in the game against Paul, when I played my Devastator, really should have looked at life totals, looked at my life total, looked at the damage on board, looked at the units on board, because I decided to kill Yaddle with the 4 damage from Devastator, because yeah, I can straight kill Yaddle first of all. Second of all, Yaddle's really annoying. She gives the other Jedi, extra restore.
Is Yaddle a she?
Um, Yaddle's a she, yeah,
That's
she's
the first time I'm hearing on this. That's pretty
I
cool.
want there isn't a species. She's a female of whatever Yoda and Grogu are.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, she gets murdered by Count Dooku. Yeah, so I straight killed Yaddle, which is instinctively normally probably the right play in a game that's gonna take several turns, but I didn't have several turns to win that game. I need to kill my opponent with this Devastator or some other units. I had like Zuckus and some other good units in hand that maybe I might have gotten away with playing at some point, but this game had to end quickly. So I should have just put that 4 damage on base. I think would have been the correct choice, because if my Devastator did get removed, I would have needed to kill him with some other units. And the Nine did end up being exactly lethal at the end there. But what if it wasn't? Then I've lost, because Yaddle only restores one and makes Yoda restore one more. So for one more turn, it's only healing two. Whereas the Devastator puts 4 straight damage on base. And I think maybe that was the wrong choice, but it was the instinctive choice I made at the time. Either way, it didn't affect the match in the end. I was able to take it out.
Yeah, it's always a tough decision when you got a board state where like, instinct is you kill the unit that restores. But sometimes it's better just to put damage on base and go for the win. All right, well,
Sweet.
thank you for coming on and having a second interview. Congrats on winning your PQ again.
Thanks, man.
Hopefully, we'll have another PQ like this soon with the next set coming out, and we'll get to talk to you again.
Yeah, bro. I'm certain we will.
Great, thank you.
All right, catch you.